Independence is one of those words that sounds completely good. Strong. Mature. Admirable. The person who needs no one. Who figures things out alone. Who handles everything without asking for help. We grow up celebrating this image. The self-made person. The one who does not lean on others. Who stands alone. Who needs nothing from no one. But here is something worth thinking about honestly. When was the last time that picture of independence actually made someone happy? Not impressive. Not respected from a distance. Actually happy. Because there is a version of independence that is genuinely healthy. And there is another version that is something else entirely. Something that looks like strength but functions more like a wall. And most people cannot tell the difference between them. This video is about that difference. Let us start with what real independence actually is. Independence is not the absence of need. Every human being has needs. For connection, for support, for meaning, for belonging. These are not weaknesses. They are part of being human. Real independence is the ability to make your own choices. To think for yourself. To take responsibility for your own life. To not require constant external validation before you can act or feel okay. It is about having a stable internal foundation. A sense of self that does not collapse when someone disagrees with you. A capacity to function and make decisions from your own values rather than from fear or approval seeking. That kind of independence is genuinely valuable. It is part of what maturity looks like. But there is another kind of independence. The kind that goes too far. Psychologists call it hyperindependence. Hyperindependence is when self-reliance becomes a defense. When the refusal to need others is not actually a sign of strength but a response to past pain. It often develops in people who learned early that depending on others was not safe. Maybe they asked for help and were let down. Maybe they showed vulnerability and were hurt. Maybe they grew up in an environment where needing things was seen as weakness or burden. So they learned to need nothing. To handle everything alone. To never show the places where they were struggling. The hyper-independent person is often the one in their group who everyone else leans on. They are helpful. Capable. Reliable. Always available to support others. But they never ask for anything in return. Not because they have no needs. Because asking feels impossible. It might feel like weakness. Like admitting that they cannot actually handle everything alone. Like risking the judgment or disappointment of someone they have allowed to see that they are not entirely okay. So they stay capable. Stay strong. Stay useful. And they are slowly, quietly exhausted by the performance of being someone who does not need. From the outside, this looks like strength. Capable. Put together. Always managing. But from the inside, it is often exhausting. And lonely. Because you cannot actually stop being human just because it feels safer. The needs do not disappear. They just go underground. And the person who never asks for help carries more than they should. Longer than they can sustain it. Often until something breaks. There is also a cost to relationships. When you cannot let anyone in, when you cannot show where you are struggling, when you cannot receive care without immediately deflecting it, the people who want to be close to you cannot actually get there. Intimacy requires two-way movement. Giving and receiving. Strength and vulnerability. Showing up for others and letting others show up for you. A person who can only give and never receive is not in a relationship. They are in a performance. And that performance is lonely in a very specific way. Surrounded by people. Untouched by any of them. There is also something worth noticing about how you receive help when it is offered. Some people, when someone offers support, immediately minimize it. Oh, it is fine, I am okay. They change the subject. They turn the attention back to the other person. Some people accept the help but then feel a pressure to repay it immediately. The receiving feels unbalanced. Like a debt that needs to be settled quickly. Both of these responses are signs that receiving feels unsafe. That allowing someone to give to you feels like a vulnerability you would rather avoid. Learning to receive is its own form of independence. Not dependence. Because you are not collapsing into the other person. You are simply allowing a human moment of genuine care to land. And that takes a different kind of strength than doing everything alone. Now let us talk about where independence actually fits in the larger picture. Stephen Covey, in his book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, described 3 stages of human maturity. The first stage is dependence. Relying on others entirely. Not being able to function without someone else directing, deciding, or supporting you. The second stage is independence. Being able to manage your own life. Make your own decisions. Take responsibility for your own outcomes. The third stage, and the highest according to Covey, is interdependence. Interdependence is not dependence. You are not relying on others because you cannot function alone. You can function alone. You have built that capacity. But you also recognize that doing things together, with the right people, produces better results than doing things alone. That sharing the load is wisdom, not weakness. That being in genuine relationship with others enriches your life in ways that complete self-sufficiency never can. Covey described this with a simple phrase. We can do it better together. Not because you need the other person to survive. But because together, something more becomes possible. This is the distinction that matters most in understanding independence. Independence is not the destination. It is a stage. An important one. But not the final one. The person who achieves independence and stops there has developed one important capacity but has not yet developed the next one. The capacity to let people in. The capacity to ask for help without feeling weak. To receive care without deflecting it. To build genuine partnership where 2 capable people choose each other, not out of need, but out of real appreciation for what is possible together. John Donne, the 17th century poet, wrote something that has stayed with readers for hundreds of years. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. He was describing something that biology confirms. No living thing exists in complete isolation. Bees need flowers. Plants need bees. Humans need other humans. Not because they are broken. Because that is how life works. A single tree in an open field is more vulnerable to wind than a tree in a forest. Not because it is weaker than the trees around it. Because the trees around it redirect the wind. They share the pressure. They make the whole group more stable. Humans work the same way. And the research on loneliness makes this very clear. Chronic loneliness is associated with increased risk of heart disease, stroke, depression, and cognitive decline. A landmark analysis by Dr. Julianne Holt-Lundstad, reviewing data from 148 studies covering over 300,000 people, found that those with strong social connections have a 50% higher chance of survival compared to those with weak social connections. Not 5% higher. 50%. Being truly isolated, not by choice, not temporarily, but as a sustained way of life, is harmful to the body in measurable and serious ways. In 2018, the United Kingdom created a Minister for Loneliness, describing loneliness as a modern public health crisis affecting millions of people across all ages. The desire for connection is not a flaw to fix. It is a biological necessity to honor. And building genuine independence, the healthy kind, is what makes real connection possible. Because you are no longer clinging out of fear. You are choosing out of genuine want. The person who can stand on their own is also the person most capable of truly standing with others. So what does healthy independence actually look like in practice? It looks like being able to make decisions without needing everyone around you to agree first. Having a sense of your own values that does not shift depending on who is in the room. Being able to spend time alone without it feeling unbearable. Having a relationship with yourself that is comfortable and even enjoyable. It looks like taking responsibility for your own emotional state. Not expecting others to manage your feelings for you. Not blaming others for how you feel. But it also looks like knowing when to ask for help. Having people in your life that you trust enough to be honest with. Being able to say, I am not okay right now. Being able to receive support without immediately trying to repay it or minimize it. There are also 3 specific areas where independence matters most in everyday life. The first is financial independence. Not necessarily wealth. But the capacity to manage your own money. To make financial choices that are yours, not driven by fear or by dependence on another person's income or approval. Financial independence gives you options. And options are a form of freedom. When you are financially dependent on someone else, they have significant power over your choices. Even if they never exercise it consciously. Even if they are kind. The dependency itself shapes what you feel you can do or say. The second is emotional independence. This is the ability to regulate your own emotional state without constantly needing others to reassure, validate, or calm you. This does not mean having no emotions. Or not sharing them with others. It means that your sense of okayness is not entirely dependent on whether the people around you are happy with you. Emotional independence is what allows you to disagree without panic. To be alone without anxiety. To receive criticism without collapse. The third is mental independence. The ability to think for yourself. To form your own opinions based on your own reasoning. To question what you have been told and arrive at conclusions that are genuinely yours. Mental independence is especially important in a world full of noise. Where algorithms, media, and social pressure all push toward particular ways of thinking and being. A mentally independent person can listen to many voices without being controlled by any of them. They can take in information and then actually think about it before accepting it. Real independence is not performing self-sufficiency. It is having enough inner stability that you can be genuinely open with others. Because you are not afraid that needing them will destroy you. The person who is truly independent, in the healthy sense, can depend on others sometimes. Because their sense of self is not threatened by it. Because they know that needing help is not the same as losing themselves. And that is the destination worth working toward. Not the person who stands completely alone. That person is not free. They are just far from everyone. But the person who is grounded enough in themselves that they can truly be with others. Who can give and receive. Who can be strong and also open. Who can handle things alone when they need to and reach out when they should. That person has done the real work of independence. Not to stand apart. But to stand steady enough that standing together is something they actually choose. I hope this video brought you something meaningful. If you find it helpful, please like and share it with someone who may need it. Subscribe if you would like to hear more stories like this. Wishing you a calm and peaceful day.